I'm going to try and present this kind of as a Christmas shopper. See if it's worth it for gift guide, if you will. The knives I chose all have the same basic size and cosmetic design. They're Paracord knives, more or less. All of them from Walmart, all of them about the same price category. First one I'm going to show you is one that you've probably seen before. It is the Buck PakLite, and hopefully you can see this. Now the packaging I got, I'm pretty sure I got just straight displays because this one's taped shut. Nothing really to it with the box. Nice thick material for the sheath, although this belt loop is pretty sad. But, you know, you don't get it just for that. I called it a paracord knife. Obviously, no paracord here. But you can see pretty clearly, though. It wouldn't take much to put some paracord on there. Hollow spacing. You could even put some scales on this if you wanted. I think it'd be quite nice for that. Well, that was an attempt at balancing it. I guess that balances pretty well. Kind of a throwing knife feel there. I do kind of like this painted, and then the contrast to the actual exposed metal. Now this has got some oil on it, which is good. In my hand, which are pretty, I got some pretty big hands. I wear a size 13, 14 ring, so see a little short, but doesn't feel uncomfortable. Can kind of get in there. The chimping here seems pretty good. Little space for your forefinger. Overall, nice knife. Made, it's the Buck 143 by designation. Made of 420 HC steel. See how thick the blade is. Looking at, let's see, 0.13 inches. .4. Can't even read my own thing. Millimeters. For those on the metric. Put that back. Fits in the sheath nicely. There's, you know, if you put paracord on there, it's solid sheath, but yeah, this would drive me crazy. Just getting it on there. I would have this sheath destroyed in pretty short order. Although it does seem to protect the knife quite nicely. To hold up, throw this in your bag, just to have it there. Good deal. The next one up is the Camillus Phenom. Now I've got a Camillus pocket knife that I quite like. By the way, these are, like I said, $20. Now this one actually does have some paracord on it. I love this right here. Up to 10 times harder than untreated steel. Who would buy a knife that wasn't treated? I think even the dollar store knives are treated, so that's one of those no kidding comments. A little bit of history here. 440 stainless. Good steel for knives, especially in this price range. Again, this was the display. I think this one had been packed up and opened up so many times. This one actually was the display. Similar sheath. A little bit better on the loop. I could actually see myself at least getting it on my belt. Same thick nylon, riveted shut. Similar snap closure. This one has about just over half straight edge, then serrated edge. Chimping feels good. This one I kind of think feels just a little bit nicer. It is actual paracord. I've seen some interesting things on the cheap knives, and I think you'll see that later. I like the wrap I really do. I think that's a neat way of wrapping it. Of course, to do that, I mean, they had to drill the holes a certain way. Actually, I believe it says on here 4.5 feet of paracord. That's not an incredible amount. However, this gives me an idea. With a knife blade like this, or handle rather, like this, you could wrap it like so, and then do a more traditional wrap on top of it. That would give you an even beefier handle to hold on to, plus that much more paracord. That gives you a little bit of a loop here. I'm not really caring for the amount of it. It's kind of pointless to me. They might as well have just kind of cut it there, but they had to get that 1/2 foot in there into the specs. And you know what? I was going to do some cheap testing. So let me back up to that. And I say cheap testing, you know, your basic stuff. Voila, the piece of paper, and you're going to see just how bad my white balance is now that I got to put my nice white piece of paper out here. So let's give the old heave-ho. These are right at the box edges. Nothing to write home there. Oh, that's nice. Let's give the other one another chance. See if I can make sure I'm not hitting that serrated. No, it's... Interestingly enough, it felt like it had a little something going on there. So factory edges, definitely an edge out to the buck. Edge out for the actual paracord. And if you like the mixed blade, I personally don't care for it, but it does come handy in certain situations. Everybody's got their own preference. A little bit better on the sheath. Neither one of them gonna win any awards, but you know, they're solid enough. Now, this is the thing that kind of got me thinking about the whole thing. You know, quality packaging right here. For those of you playing along at home, that was sarcasm. It's a blister pack knife. This one is actually $5 less. It says it's paracord wrapped. Actually, the thing that got me about this one was this little guy in here. That struck me as a nice, potentially a nice little neck knife, at least by design. I probably should have did a little bit of pre-research and made some notes, so I'm just kind of going from memory. But this reminds me a lot of a CRKT knife, or yeah, and about that same size. This like strikes me the kind of thing you would put in an Altoid tin case, maybe a nice little neck knife. So let's go ahead and get this opened up. Let's get out Old Reliable here. My Leatherman Wave. Love this thing. How do I want to open this neatly? You can tell I do a lot of unboxing, right? Only at Christmas. Let's give it a nice little slice this way. Oh, little Camillus folding thing and little loop there. This, by the way, was exactly what was in the other one. Just how to quick take care of it, you know, quick cleaning. Unparalleled, unprecedented, unleashed. Little history of the company, little romancing the vendors, we used to say back in my retail days. Let's put that aside. Now, I commented about the other sheaths. Pretty sure you could make this in 5 minutes on a sewing machine. And if it's your first DIY, this would be impressive. But for, you know, a store-bought retail product, it's just some sewn cloth. Let's see how they fit together. I still, honestly, as really bad as this sheath looks, I still like this belt loop better than I like on the buck one. Just saying. And let's goes in this way. Lines up nicely. And this should fit down in here like so. See that? Just cut right through the bottom. First time in. That's, well, about sums up what I expected on the sheath. It's actually slightly, ever so slightly better than I would have thought. I couldn't find any real information on this steel. They kept going, titanium. Well, it's not a titanium blade. One, that would be way more expensive. Two, titanium's just not a good knife blade. That's been covered before. It's good for being lightweight and structurally strong. Does not hold an edge. Sounds like it's got a bit of an edge to it. This is not paracord. This is a nylon cord. Better than nothing. Actually, the tightness of the wrap, not bad. I think it feels better in the hand than the other ones. Oh, quick thing I forgot to do. Gave the thickness of the other two. Let's check out the thickness of these guys. Slightly thicker, 3.75 millimeters, which would make it 0.147 inches. And this one, .5 millimeters, 0.141 inches. I gotta say, I'm slightly surprised. I don't know. Something told me this would just feel flimsy. And we'll give it the quick paper test. I would say it does slightly better than its slightly more expensive cousin. Just don't know what kind of steel it is. That bothers me. Bothers me a lot. The titanium is probably just this coating, which it does feel quite smooth. In comparison to the other two, which I believe this is supposed to be titanium coating too. This actually feels the smoothest. And this, I believe, is more of a paint. It's not trying to be smooth. It's actually got some texture to it, which, pros and cons, that could actually make it easier to hold on to in a wet hand situation, perhaps. Harder to clean. Everything, again, pros and cons. Let's put this away. Enough sharp edges out here. Pleasantly surprised. Let's talk about this little guy here. Put it in the envelope. Don't know if I want to call that a sheath. Trying to do comparisons and contrasting. So this little guy right here, now how I'm holding it here, if you're trying to do some small work, just need something to cut. I don't know, first aid situation, need to rip open, cut somebody's pant leg open or something like that to see how they're doing. The shirt sleeve. Some box cutting, definitely. This is a nice little box cutter, feels like. Which, I don't know, let's see how it does on the paper. Nothing there. It's got some. And these are factory edges. I do believe that you want to give them a little bit of sharpening, but I also feel that the factory should take a little bit of effort. You should at least be able to slice a little bit of lined paper. out the door. That saying, my biggest concern with these two especially, not knowing what kind of steel they are, is what kind of edge retention does it have? The thickness was actually a surprise. It's a little, it feels more substantial. You know, whoever, or the method they use to wrap it, solid. You know, pros and cons across the board. This sheath is a joke. Pretty much plain and simple. It's there to keep you from cutting yourself. It's not really usable for anything else. These sheaths, they're okay. Don't like either one, really. I have, you know, being a big guy, I don't like my knife right up against my belt like that. I like it to hang a little bit lower, just to dangle and move easier around. I'm going to pull this guy up, and this guy over here is my Charade SCHF 9. A lot of people knock this sheath. I like the way this hangs. I mean, this is a different class of knife altogether, but the reason I'm pulling this is because a lot of people pick on it. You know, it's got some functionality. Molly hold. Easy to do belt loop. Extra pouch for your whatnots. I would say the materials and structural strength is comparable on these three. So if you're familiar with this knife, that'll give you a little bit better idea. The design of it, there's just not much there. And I guess, what do you expect? $20, $15 or so. So, I did say I wanted to kind of build this as a little bit of a buying guide. Buck's got a good reputation. Even their inexpensive stuff holds up. So this next part is about reputation. Camillus is all over the place. You really have to take a look at the knives, individual knives on their own basis. They've got some inexpensive stuff that's really good. I've got that Les Stroud pocket knife. I really like it. These guys right here, not impressed. I'm actually not impressed with any of them. That said, you know, a knife is always something you want to have. You never know when you're going to need it. I mean, it's a first aid thing. It's a protection thing. It's a tool for lots of jobs. It's a tool that can make other tools. And I could see these three working in a pinch for some medium light duty stuff. So if you've got somebody who's a collector, you don't know what to buy them. First off, if they're a collector and they like this kind of thing, they probably have it already. If you're looking for something to put in your kit, this is a backup, something a little bit nicer than a pocket knife at around the same price, it's worthy of consideration. These are, especially this guy, I mean, it's billed as a gift. I can't recommend it. It's not really paracord. The sheath pokes through. I would think, in my opinion, this guy right here, as intriguing as it is for this little, a little solid blade, I would look at that CRKT knife. Check out the pricing. You could probably get it a little bit better quality, maybe just a little bit bigger. That's very highly regarded. And I was thinking of that knife the whole time I was looking at this one. Overall, not terrible. Not terrible. If you need something, you know, this would fit certain people's needs. They're medium small knives, thicknesses in the blade, concerned about the edge retention, 440 steel, and I read somewhere 440C, but I don't see that on the box or the knife itself. Can hold an edge. Being half serrated is, that could be a pro or a con. So this is definitely something to a strong consideration, as is the buck. Again, where one fails, another one succeeds. So I'm not trying to give you what is or what isn't the right choice. I'm just trying to present them to you, allow you to decide for yourself. Hopefully I'm giving you enough information here. I was thinking about just tearing up some cardboard boxes, but the way I'm physically laid out right now, not really an option. Especially considering it's later at night. There's people sleeping in the other room. All in all, if you have somebody who really needs or wants a knife, you're on a budget, they're on a budget, I think any three of them would do well for you. I'd lean towards the buck, a little bit thicker, nicer factory edge, nicer sheath, actually has the paracord already. Some people are more do it themselves. You can do whatever you want already. I should say, you can do whatever you want with this. This one, not really paracord. Cheap sheath, mystery metal. I'm surprised at how nice I like it, actually. But overall, there's just too many things that are putting me off on this one. So, all viable choices, none of them are spectacular. Would I keep these guys? I've got a good history with Camillus and Buck, with things that I already own. I've got a Buck 110 that I am in love with. I may even do a video on that simply because there's a little bit of I think a nice story that goes with that particular knife. I've got that Les Stroud Camillus knife. I also have a kit, a bag from them. So the products can be good. I mean, it boils really almost down to brand preference between these two. This one, I'm not a fan of mystery metal, so bygone. Give it some thought yourself. I hope this helps you out. I thank you for watching. If you like what I'm doing here, I'm going to be refining what I do and bearing out into more knife and probably more so in the archery range. So please like and subscribe, comment what you'd like to see, what you didn't like is in the form of constructive criticism, please. And you have yourselves a great day.